This is Rebecca Fillmore, and I want to welcome you to Her Inspired Mind podcast. Each week, I will be helping you strengthen your mind, be inspired, encouraged, and empowered. Be sure to hit that subscribe or follow button so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. And if you aren't yet, follow me on Instagram at Inspire Her Mindset for daily inspiration. Hello, welcome to the second episode of Her Inspired Mind podcast. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who tuned in to the first episode. Thank you for all of the love and support and the feedback that you've given me. I'm super excited to be here with you and to just bring you some weekly inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. Today, I want to talk about mindset. As many of you know, I am a mindset coach, and I want to dig a little deeper into what exactly is mindset. As I touched on a little bit in the first episode, your mind is one of your most valuable assets. Your mind is the center of your world. It's the center of your life. So that's why it's so important for me to make sure that your mindset is good. So, what is mindset? Well, the word itself says it. What is your mind set on? What are you focused on? What are you constantly thinking about? What are you feeding your mind? These are the questions that I want you to think about and I want you to ask yourself. Because if your mind is not set on the right things, it can greatly affect how you feel. It can greatly affect the quality of your life, and it can greatly affect the things that you will or won't accomplish in life. So when you think about what you're focused on, like, are you thinking about good things? Are you thinking about bad things? Do you have a positive mindset? Do you have a negative mindset? Having a positive mindset doesn't mean that your life is perfect. I consider myself to have a positive mindset, and the reason is that when things happen, even in the worst situations, I have the ability now to be able to find the good even within the bad. A lot of people might call that the silver lining. And this doesn't just come naturally. I think by default, because of sometimes the trauma we've gone through in life, or the way that we were raised, or the kind of things that were influenced into our minds, that can greatly impact what kind of mindset you have. So if you consider yourself to have a negative mindset, I'm going to give you some tools and some questions to think about to help you to turn that negative mindset into a positive mindset, which is going to empower you and it's going to make your life even better than what it is right now. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what are you feeding your mind? What you feed your mind can be composed of several things. One of those things can be, what are you watching? What are you looking at every day? Who are you following on social media? What videos are you watching? What TV shows are you watching? What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of people are you talking to? Are you talking to people who speak life into you and lift you up and encourage your goals and your dreams? Or are you talking to people who are very negative and always talking bad about other people and gossiping or even bringing you down? And a lot of times that can be one of the most biggest influences in your life. The people that you're surrounding yourself with on a daily basis, the people that you're talking to on a daily basis, because it's a well-known fact that you become like the top five people that you surround yourself with. But even though the people that are around you can become a big influence in you and how you think, the person that you're with all day, every day is yourself. So, what are you feeding your mind? I want you to really think about that. How are you starting your days? When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that you're doing? Are you immediately jumping on social media and starting to scroll? Are you texting, reading email messages, getting back to clients, The way that you start your day has a significant impact not only in how you will feel throughout the day, but it will also impact how you're going to be thinking the rest of the day as well. So that's why it's so important. And one of the things that I like to tell my clients is to plan out how you're going to start every day. So in the morning, instead of jumping on your phone and getting on social media, why don't you think about 3 things that you're grateful for? I know sometimes it can be tough, especially if you're going through things in life. But if you look hard enough and you think hard enough and you force yourself to think about at least 3 things that you're thankful for, trust me, you're going to find it. The second thing that you can do is listen to worship music. There's a lot of different artists out there, different genres that you can listen to. And you can also listen to something motivational, like you can look on YouTube, you can listen to a podcast, but just make sure that it's something that's going to pump you up, that's going to lift you up, and that's going to just have your mind set on the right things. And then another thing you can do is spending 5 minutes meditating. There's different ways to meditate. One of my favorite ways to meditate is putting on meditation music. You can find that on YouTube or any music platform, and set a timer for yourself and sit there for 5 minutes. And during this 5 minutes, I want you to visualize yourself in the most peaceful place that you could ever imagine being, or, just somewhere where you're by yourself. And you close your eyes and you visualize yourself in this beautiful place that brings you peace, not thinking about anything else, not thinking about what you have to do, but just being present with yourself, with your body and your mind. And as you're visualizing yourself being in a calm state and being somewhere that brings you peace and joy, breathe. Take deep breaths in through your nose and blow out through your mouth. And as you continue to visualize, keep doing this. And you're going to notice that a sense of calm and peace is going to come over you. And at the same time, start thinking of the feelings that you want to feel. For example, I feel happy. I feel joyful. I feel calm. I feel confident. And you just keep repeating these things over and over again throughout those 5 minutes. And when you're done, you're going to feel just so much more empowered and so much more confident as you go through your day, because you're literally speaking life into yourself. You're giving yourself that pump. You don't need pump and motivation from anyone else. I mean, it helps, I hope that I can bring you encouragement and motivation. But at the end of the day, I want you to learn to be your biggest fan. I want you to be your biggest encourager, because there's going to be times where you're going to be by yourself and there's going to be nobody around to be able to speak life into you. And if you don't practice speaking life into yourself when things are going good in your life, when things are going bad, and nobody sometimes even knows what you're struggling with. Sometimes people don't know what you're suffering with. But if you practice, when you get that opportunity then to go into the battlefield of life, you're going to be so much more empowered. You're going to be able to bounce back, that it doesn't matter what comes to you. And it doesn't matter if you're going through things by yourself, you're going to be able to get through it. And as you do these exercises, these simple things every morning, it's going to just help you to have a growth mindset. And what do I mean when I talk about growth mindset? It means that you're expanding your mind to think outside out of the box, to think beyond what your present situation is, to be able to start dreaming again. You remember when you were a little kid and you used to dream about being an astronaut, a firefighter, a police officer, whatever it was that you dreamt of doing with your life? Where did you lose your way? As you got older and things started happening, things started chipping away at your core, at your mind, at your soul, at your heart, right? So by you spending time with yourself and pouring into yourself and taking care of your mind and growing your mind, you're going to start noticing that some of those dreams that maybe you forgot about along the way are going to start coming back to you. And maybe new dreams are going to come to you, and new ways of thinking are going to come to you. And you're going to start attracting new people also coming into your life that are going to speak life into you as well. Because the reality is that we can't do life alone. And especially if you are surrounded currently by people who bring you down and talk down to you, you attract what you put out. So by you putting out positive vibes, thoughts, energy into yourself, you're going to then start attracting more positive energy, positive people, positive things into your life. And this is what you call maturity, because we are called to mature, right? When we're a baby, we drink milk. But as we get older, we start eating some more solid foods, right? And as we get older, we eat even more solid foods. So we, as human beings, we have to grow. We can't stay stuck. And a lot of times, because of the things that we've gone through in life, the trauma, a lot of times people stay stuck in whatever age of the trauma that happened to them. But I want you to know that there's power in calling, first of all, on the name of Jesus, on God, and surrendering your life to him and calling him to help you to renew your mind, which reminds me of a Bible verse where God believes that we should have a good mindset. It's very important. Romans 12:2, it says, be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Renewing your mind is something that God wants you to do. And he even tells us about having a more positive mindset in Philippians 4:8, which says, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. So he commands us to think about the good things, not about the bad things. Because if you sit and think about what's going bad in your life, is that going to fix anything? If you sit there and think about all of the bad things that you've gone through, you're just going to become more paralyzed. But instead, use the things that you've gone through, learn from them, and grow. Speak life into yourself. Think about how grateful you are to be here today. That thing that you thought was going to take you down, it didn't. You're still here. You're still breathing. So instead of thinking about the negative, think about the positive. I'll share a personal story with you. My father, he ended up in the hospital suddenly in the end of 2018. And that was a really tough time because he was fine. And all of a sudden he had a really high fever and he ended up in the ICU. And all of a sudden, he ended up just being really, really sick. And he was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And in the end of that, he passed away. That was one of the toughest things that I've ever had to go through. If you've ever lost a parent, you know the pain. I used to think about when that day would come when I would lose one of my parents. And imagining it and then it happening is two totally different stories. But throughout that time, one of the things that, and I thank my husband, was that he would tell me, whatever happens, God is going to be glorified in this. My prayer was that my dad was going to be healed and he was going to come home and I was going to be able to spend more time with him. But that didn't happen. But imagine if I would have allowed that situation to consume me and to bring me down and think how unfair it was that my dad suddenly got sick. Why was he taken away from me? And just thinking about everything that he suffered. But I put my faith in God. And even though in the beginning I was praying for healing, I said, you know what, Lord, whatever you think is best and whatever your will is, I'm willing to accept that. And I'll tell you that during that time, that was one of the most testing times of my life. Because not only was I battling with my dad being in the hospital, passing away, I felt like my heart was going to give out. That stress, the amount of stress that I went through, I started getting palpitations again. My anxiety was starting to kick in again as well. And it was just really, really, really hard for me because I was also in the middle of a transition in my faith. I was, born and raised in a certain religion. And during that time, I was trying to figure out where my relationship with God was standing. But during that time, there was people that treated me like if I didn't even exist, as my father was passing away. Like I didn't even exist. They would literally go right by me and act like I wasn't there because I wasn't serving at the capacity that they thought I should. But I'm thankful, not that my dad passed away, but I'm thankful for the grace of God covering me and for him giving me direction and allowing me to get through that really tough situation in life. And as I look back at that situation and I see where I am today, a few years later, I'm stronger. I have more clarity in my life. My faith is stronger. And I just see life in a whole nother perspective. And not only that, I carry my dad in my heart. I talk to him. I talk about him to my children, and he's no longer suffering. Like, what if he would have stayed alive? Would he have to had lived a life that, wasn't very fulfilling? Would the rest of his life have been, him suffering? I mean, there's just so many questions that you can ask yourself. And I'll share another thing. Like, I suffered 3 pregnancy losses. And if you've ever lost a child or a baby, like, that loss, that it hurts. Your heart goes. As soon as you find out that you have a positive pregnancy test, you connect with that baby, and in those moments, it hurts. But as the years have gone by, sometimes I think about, okay, what if the babies would have been born sick? What if they would have had some kind of condition where they'd be, just not living a very good and fulfilling life? And I'm not saying that these situations are easy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that by you working on your mind every day, by you focusing on what you do have and focusing on the positive of your life, you're going to be able to live a more fulfilled and better quality life. So that's why I want you to be intentional every single day, that you're starting your day by putting good things in your mind. If there's people in your life who are just constantly talking down to you, whether it's family members, whether it's a spouse, even your own kids as they get older, if you're a parent, like whoever it is, it doesn't matter who it is. If these people are toxic and they're not speaking life into you, you also need to think about how you're going to deal with these people. I've had to get away from people that I truly love and I think about, that were a part of my life one time, but they were bad to my mental health. And if you're suffering from anxiety and depression or any other mental illnesses, or you're just like really stressed out right now, I want you to really think about, okay, first of all, you have to pinpoint what's the problem. Is it, sometimes it could be a chemical imbalance, but additionally, do you have people in your life that are really stressing you out, that are talking down to you, that are taking advantage of you? All of these things you have to be mindful of and you have to think about so that you can analyze and then you can move forward in how you're going to deal with these people that are in your life. Your mental health is of the utmost importance. So you need to do whatever it is that you need to do so that your mind is right. What you're, also reading has transformed my life in so many ways. Like I shared with you in the first episode, I used to hate reading. It wasn't my favorite thing to do. But the first book I read was Mentor the CEO and the Kid. The second book that I read was Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And in that first chapter, I feel like he really smacked me up in a sense, because he talked about the first thing is that your life, the quality of the life is in your hands. It's not at the fault of anybody else or the responsibility of anyone else to make sure that you're good. So if your mind ain't right, again, you have to do whatever it takes to make sure that your mind is right. So that means make sure that you're reading self-development books. I gave you 2 suggestions. Another book that you can read to grow your mindset is The Magic of Thinking Big and Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. These are books that have transformed my mind. You can order them on Amazon. I feel like they're pretty affordable there. You can also listen to audiobooks as well. And, just really start being intentional about what you're pouring into your mind. Your eyes are a window into your mind. Your ears are a window into your mind. The music that you're listening to, music is so transformational. I'm thankful that I was able to find music that was more positive. It was cleaner. When I learned about Christian hip hop, at first I was like, what is that? Like, how can you have Christian hip hop? But honestly, it's just more positive music. So the way you wake up thinking, what you're putting into your ears when you first wake up in the morning, the books that you're reading, the people that you're talking to, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, all of these things affect your mindset. And sometimes also you have to just be more intentional. If you find yourself that you're going in a negative downward spiral and you're just thinking about, oh, my life sucks. Oh, this is so horrible. Oh, why me? Stop yourself. Be like, shut up. Just tell yourself to shut up and be like, listen, you need to stop thinking that way. Start thinking about what you do have. Stop thinking about what you don't have. Stop thinking about what happened, but start thinking about what can happen in your future. And if you start practicing these things every single day, little by little, you're going to start seeing your mind renewing into a more positive light. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to be less depressed. You're going to be less anxious. And you're just going to start seeing yourself grow and mature as a person. Okay? So I hope that this was helpful in helping you understand more about what mindset is and how important your mindset is. So I would love to hear feedback from you. Please try at least 3 of these things that I've suggested and start implementing them in your life. And within 2 weeks or a month, let me know if you've been practicing it and it's been helpful to you. Make sure that you post a picture or comment on Instagram and tag me, Inspire Her Mindset, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, Rebecca Fillmore. And I would love to hear if any of these tips have helped you to improve your mindset. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you guys again.